Welcome back to another segment of Let's Talk. And I tell you, this is another brand new day with a brand new guest with brand new information. And today we're going to have a talk today from a young man from the Department of Health of Indian River County called 5210. Let's go. So let me introduce to you Peter from the Department of Health. How you doing today?
Good, John. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you here today. We always need some good information. And boy, I tell you, get your pencils, your pad, your reading glasses, because Peter has a lot of information for you today. So Peter will tell you a little bit about himself and what he's here to do today.
All right. So my name is Peter Benincasa, and I work for the Florida Department of Health. I'm a health educator. And I'm the local coordinator of the 5210 Childhood Obesity Prevention Program. And 5210 is a program that was started way back in 2006 in Portland, Maine by the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital up there. And it is focused on the message of 5210, which stands for 5 fruits and vegetables a day, 2 hours or less of screen time, 1 hour or more of physical activity, and 0 sugary drinks. So that is the message that we're trying to promote in the community as much as possible, especially in the school district. And the school district and the health department have a great partnership. And through that partnership, we have implemented the program in 8 schools so far, and currently we're on our 9th school. So far, we have been in Sebastian Elementary, Dodgertown Elementary, Pelican Island, Vero Beach, Citrus, Glendale, Fellsmere, and Rosewood, and currently we are in Liberty Magnet. So it's been a great experience. We've got to talk to a lot of kids and got some good stuff going. So here's how the program works. Primarily, we are working with special area teachers. So that means music teachers, PE teachers, art teachers, and through the library, the media teachers as well. And we do it that way so that we can see as many kids as possible during the 4 to 6 weeks that we are with each school. So that allows us to see every student in the school at least 4 or 5 times to deliver the information that we want to deliver. And we teach them all kinds of things about fruits and vegetables, about how to read food labels. We talk about junk food advertising and junk food marketing to children. And of course, we talk about physical activity. And so just trying to take a holistic approach to health and explain to the kids, give them some useful information so that they can start practicing those healthy habits on their own. And aside from the fun classroom activities, we also are doing health fairs at the schools, as well as essay contests and various decorating around the school cafeteria, etc. And in addition to that, we're working with school administrators and teachers and faculty as well, to see if they can implement some policies, some strategies that are promoted through 5210 to promote a culture of health in the school system. So obesity is a priority of the health department. If you watch the news, I'm sure that you've heard we are in the midst of an obesity epidemic. And just to give you some information, approximately 1/3 of US adults, or about 35%, and about 17% of children and adolescents have obesity. So that's almost 13 million children and adolescents who have obesity. The estimated annual cost, annual medical cost of obesity in the US was $147 billion in 2008. And nearly 1 in 5 US deaths is associated with obesity. Numerous health risks, comorbidities are associated with obesity, including high blood pressure and high cholesterol, cardiovascular disease, an increased risk of impaired glucose tolerance, insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, breathing problems such as sleep apnea and asthma, as well as fatty liver disease and acid reflux or heartburn. And the thing that's particularly troublesome about this is that a lot of these conditions are typically only seen in adults, but unfortunately they're becoming a topic of conversation in a lot of pediatric offices around the country. And in addition to some of those physical risks, there are risks of social and psychological problems in obese youth for reasons such as discrimination and poor self-esteem. So in the school district, one of the ways that we're trying to address this problem, as I mentioned earlier, is through policies. And so a few examples of those policies or those strategies that we're trying to promote in the school district include providing healthy choices for snacks and celebrations and limiting unhealthy choices. So that's like your cupcake parties and your pizza parties. So we're trying to promote the idea that not every celebration has to incorporate sugar and empty calories, that we can celebrate things healthfully. So that would, implementing this practice includes reaching out to parents. That's really critical. So encouraging parents to provide only healthy options for celebrations. And also to have non-food celebrations. So if you want to have a birthday party, try to think of creative ways that you can celebrate with the class instead of, the usual candy cupcakes and what have you. Also providing non-food rewards. So that does happen. Sometimes educators use food rewards as incentive for behavior, and so we're trying to move away from that. So we're trying to do things like using physical activity as a reward. So instead of using candy, you can say, we're going to have extra time at recess, or we can have a dance party with the kids, or something like that. And also just thinking of more creative incentives than just food. And also providing opportunities for children to get physical activity every day. Using physical activity as a reward is certainly a way to do that. But also teachers can provide short activity breaks during the day that are about 5 to 10 minutes long. Sometimes they call those brain breaks. You can incorporate movement into learning in various ways. And then this one is a little bit more difficult just because it's been a standard practice for so long, but avoid using or withholding physical activity as punishment. So that would mean try to avoid taking recess away because of kids' behavioral issues, or avoid making kids run laps or walk laps or that kind of thing. So we don't want kids to associate physical activity with punishment. We want them to enjoy it. Just as an example, there are a number of different things that teachers can do in the classroom. If they still want to incorporate snacks in their classroom, there are many, many different options for them. And I actually encourage anyone who's watching, I encourage you to visit letsgo.org and check out that is the 5210 official website. It's called letsgo.org. And there are actually toolkits for implementing this program in various places, including in schools, and they have lots of interesting ideas for teachers for providing healthy snacks to kids and other stuff that they can do in the classroom. We also have a Facebook page. It's 5210 Let's Go Indian River County. You can just type that into the search bar on Facebook and like us on Facebook. And we also have our own website. It's healthyindianriver.com. And now I would like to turn our attention to this display that I brought, this sugar display. This is the sugar board that's become well known around the community because I visit various places and I do a lot of different events, and I always bring this along with me. So the 0 in 5210 stands for zero sugary drinks, as you know, and it really helps to have a visual because a lot of people don't understand just how much sugar they're getting from these sugary drinks until they see it. So that's what this display is really about. So, I mean, let me start by saying that kids in particular are only supposed to get about 3 to 5 teaspoons of sugar a day. That's it. So that's roughly like 16 to 20 grams of sugar. But unfortunately, most kids get way more than that. So For example, in 1 can of Pepsi, there's about 10 teaspoons. So that's more than double what most kids should have in a day. Gatorade. A lot of kids think that Gatorade is a healthy alternative because when they think of Gatorade, they think of sports, they think of athletes. But Gatorade, you should really treat it as just another sugary drink because one of these bottles has 9 teaspoons of sugar in it. And kids are only supposed to get 3 to 5. Monster energy drinks. This is more for adults, I understand that. But it still has 14 teaspoons of sugar, and the average adult should really only get around 9 teaspoons a day. A 20-ounce bottle of Coke has about 16 teaspoons of sugar. Apple juice, a bottle of apple juice, even though it's 100% apple juice, that doesn't necessarily make it any healthier. It still has about 12 teaspoons of sugar. And of course, the healthiest drink up here, water, 0 teaspoons. And there are definitely ways that you can make water a little bit more interesting if you want to. You can add fruit to your water, or there are certain kinds of flavored water that you can get at the grocery store. Carbonated water especially, that doesn't have any added sugar to it at all, and it doesn't have any artificial sweeteners in it either, and that can still kind of satisfy that craving for a carbonated beverage that you might have. And also, it's very important to always read your food labels, so you can be on the lookout for just how much sugar is in a drink, but also you should be on the lookout for other names that sugar can go by. There are between 50 to 60 names for sugar. So sometimes when you look at a food label, it won't say sugar on it, but don't be fooled, it could still have sugar. So some of the names to look out for are over here. I've got my little mask guy, because I like to explain to kids that sometimes sugar goes by many disguises. So that includes some of the different names for sugar include dextrose, barley malts, molasses, corn syrup, cane juice, fructose, maltodextrin, maltose, sucrose, and glucose. And a lot of these words for sugar end in OSE. That's tacked on there on the end. So glucose, fructose, sucrose. So that OSE is a really good way to tell whether or not something is sugar as well. So always read your food labels. Try to learn some of these different names for sugar, and just be aware that your kids really aren't supposed to be getting much sugar at all, between 3 to 5 teaspoons a day or 16 to 20 grams.
Well, Peter, it seems like we got a good education here this morning. I guess a lot of people didn't realize, because we all don't look at the labels, but being here this morning, can't imagine all the people that drink Coke is drinking 16 teaspoons, and those that are Pepsi lovers are drinking 10 spoons of sugar, and Gatorade, like you say, is a popular, but the one that gets me is the Monster drink. Every time I go into the store to get coffee, people got these big cans of Monster drink, and they can't even wait till they get outside. They clip it and then they go. But I tell you, this was a good education. We hope people will take heed to what Peter has given you this morning. Peter, we want to thank you very much for coming on to represent the Department of Health and to also talk to people for better health.
All right, thank you, John.